Everyone wants financial freedom, the ability to live life on your terms, make choices without worrying about money, and sleep peacefully knowing you're financially secure. But here's the harsh truth nobody wants to hear. Financial freedom isn't free. It requires sacrifice. Real, uncomfortable, sometimes painful sacrifice that most people aren't willing to make. The word sacrifice makes people uncomfortable because our culture worships instant gratification and promotes the illusion that you can have everything now without consequences. Social media feeds overflow with luxury lifestyles, influencers showing off wealth, and advertisements promising happiness through consumption. But the reality behind true financial freedom is radically different. It's built on deliberate choices to give up certain things today so you can have everything tomorrow. This isn't about deprivation or suffering. It's about strategic trade-offs. Every financially free person you admire made sacrifices you didn't see. While others were upgrading cars, they drove old vehicles and invested the difference. While peers were impressing strangers with designer clothes, they wore basics and built portfolios. While friends were living paycheck to paycheck in expensive apartments, they lived modestly and accumulated assets. These weren't accidents. They were intentional sacrifices that compounded into freedom. The truth is, you cannot achieve financial freedom while maintaining the same spending habits, time commitments, and lifestyle choices that keep most people trapped in financial stress. Something has to give. The question isn't whether you'll sacrifice. You already are. You're either sacrificing your future security for present comfort, or you're sacrificing present indulgence for future freedom. There's no third option. What makes these sacrifices particularly challenging is that they're countercultural. When you start making them, people notice. They'll question your choices, call you cheap, or suggest you're missing out on life. But here's what they don't understand. You're not missing out. You're opting out of the consumption trap that keeps them financially stressed. You're playing a different game with a different finish line. The 5 sacrifices we're about to explore aren't theoretical concepts or motivational fluff. They're concrete, proven trade-offs that separate people who talk about financial freedom from people who actually achieve it. Some will feel manageable. Others will challenge everything you believe about money, success, and happiness. But each one is non-negotiable if you're serious about breaking free from financial dependency. Understanding these sacrifices gives you power because it transforms financial freedom from a vague dream into a clear path with specific choices. You'll know exactly what you need to give up and what you'll gain in return. You'll stop wondering why financial freedom feels impossible and start understanding the precise mechanics of how it's built. Before we break down these 5 essential sacrifices, I want to know, are you enjoying this video so far? And where in the world are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. I love connecting with viewers globally. The first and most fundamental sacrifice for financial freedom is giving up immediate gratification and resisting lifestyle inflation. This is the foundational trade-off that determines whether you'll ever build wealth or remain trapped in the consumption cycle forever. Immediate gratification is the impulse to buy, experience, or consume something the moment you want it. New phone released? Buy it now. Friends going on vacation? Book one immediately. See something trendy online? Purchase instantly. This pattern feels normal because consumer culture conditions you to believe that delaying satisfaction is deprivation. But wealthy people understand something different. Delayed gratification is the price of freedom. According to financial experts, forgoing immediate gratification and focusing on long-term goals is essential for building wealth, whether that's saving for retirement or establishing an emergency fund. The psychological shift required is profound. You must learn to feel satisfaction from seeing your investment account grow rather than from showing off new purchases. You must derive pleasure from financial progress rather than material acquisition. Lifestyle inflation is equally destructive and more insidious because it happens unconsciously. When your income increases, promotion, raise, bonus, side hustle success, your lifestyle automatically expands to match. You move to a nicer apartment, upgrade your car, dine at better restaurants, subscribe to more services. This feels like progress, but it's actually a trap that keeps your savings rate constant even as income grows. The sacrifice here is choosing to maintain your current lifestyle even when you can afford better, and directing that income gap toward investments instead. Living below your means requires genuine sacrifice because you're swimming against cultural currents. Your peers will upgrade their lives visibly while yours stays the same outwardly. You'll drive older cars, live in modest homes, wear regular clothes, and skip expensive experiences. Not because you can't afford them, but because you choose future freedom over present status. This sacrifice is particularly difficult in the age of social media, where everyone broadcasts their best moments and purchases. The pressure to keep up, to show you're successful, to prove you've made it, is overwhelming. But every dollar spent on appearing successful is a dollar not working toward actual financial independence. The practical application means saying no constantly. No to unnecessary upgrades. No to keeping up with friends' spending. No to purchases that provide temporary satisfaction but no lasting value. No to financing lifestyle through debt. Each no feels like deprivation in the moment but compounds into freedom over years. Financial advisors emphasize that spending optimization, distinguishing between expenses that genuinely improve your life versus those providing temporary satisfaction, is essential for financial freedom. This means spending more on things that create lasting value while ruthlessly cutting expenses driven by social pressure or impulse. The reward for this sacrifice is mathematical and guaranteed. If you can delay gratification for 10-15 years while maintaining lifestyle discipline, compound growth transforms modest savings into substantial wealth. You'll reach a point where investment returns exceed your living expenses, true financial independence. But it only works if you resist the constant temptation to inflate your lifestyle every time your circumstances improve. If you're finding these honest, practical insights valuable and want to understand the other 4 essential sacrifices, I'd really appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel. We're working hard to reach 1,000 subscribers, and your support helps us create more content that tells the truth about building real wealth. Thank you for being part of this community. The second major sacrifice for financial freedom is your time, comfort, and energy during the wealth-building phase. Financial independence doesn't happen during standard 40-hour work weeks with evenings and weekends free. It happens when you deliberately overwork temporarily to accelerate your timeline. This means taking on side hustles, working overtime, freelancing on weekends, or starting businesses while maintaining your regular job. It means working 60, 70-hour weeks for 5 to 10 years while others work 40 and relax. It means being tired, having less social time, and operating at maximum capacity, but only temporarily with a specific goal and endpoint in mind. According to financial freedom experts, pursuing additional income through side work is one of the key sacrifices that improves your financial position. The additional income can be directed towards savings, paying off debt, or investments that compound into long-term security. But this requires genuine sacrifice. Your evenings after your main job, your weekends, your vacation time, all redirected toward income generation. This isn't just about more money. It's about compressing your timeline. If you can save $10,000 annually on a single income, it takes 10 years to accumulate $100,000 before investment returns. But if you add $15,000 annually through side income, you reach $100,000 in just 4 years. You've traded 5 to 10 years of extra work for accelerating your freedom by 6 years. That math makes the sacrifice worthwhile. Equally important is sacrificing time for financial education. Investing time in learning about personal finance, investing, budgeting, tax strategies, and wealth building is essential, but requires dedication. This means reading books instead of watching entertainment, taking courses instead of scrolling social media, listening to financial podcasts during commutes instead of music. Most people never develop financial literacy because they won't sacrifice the time required. They want the results of financial knowledge without the investment of learning. But understanding how money works, how investments grow, how taxes impact wealth, and how to optimize your financial life is the difference between working forever and retiring early. The comfort sacrifice is also significant. Side hustles often mean uncomfortable work. Driving strangers for rideshare, delivering food in all weather, doing tasks others don't want to do. It means working when you're tired, saying no to social invitations, missing events because you're working, and feeling perpetually behind on rest and relaxation. This sacrifice is temporary, but intense. You are not committing to this forever. You're committing to a defined sprint of 5 to 10 years where you operate at maximum capacity to build the foundation of financial freedom. Once that foundation is built and generating passive income, you can scale back significantly. The psychological difficulty is that while you're making these sacrifices, your peers appear to have better lives. They're going out, taking trips, relaxing on weekends, enjoying their evenings. They look happier in the short term, but they're trading long-term freedom for short-term comfort while you're doing the opposite. The energy sacrifice means operating tired. You'll work your main job, then come home and work your side business. You'll spend weekends learning new skills or serving clients. You'll feel exhausted regularly, but this exhaustion is temporary and productive, unlike the exhaustion of being trapped in a job you hate for decades because you never built alternatives. The compound effect of these time, comfort, and energy sacrifices is profound. 5 years of intense work can create income streams, skills, and capital that provide security for the next 50 years. But most people won't make this trade because the sacrifice is visible and uncomfortable now, while the benefit is invisible and future-oriented. The third, fourth, and fifth sacrifices often overlap and are perhaps the most psychologically challenging. Giving up social status, appearances, and the need for immediate belonging. These emotional sacrifices separate people who achieve financial freedom from those who remain trapped, trying to impress others. Sacrificing social status means accepting that during your wealth-building years, you'll appear less successful than your peers. They'll have newer cars, bigger homes, nicer clothes, and more impressive social media feeds. You'll look behind, even when your net worth is growing faster than theirs. This requires immense psychological strength because humans are social creatures with deep needs for belonging and status. When your friends upgrade their apartments, vacation in exotic locations, and wear designer brands while you're living modestly, every interaction reminds you of the gap. The temptation to compete, to prove you're successful too, is overwhelming. But here's the brutal truth. Every dollar spent on status is a dollar not building freedom. The new car that signals success costs $500 monthly in payments, insurance, and maintenance, $6,000 annually that could be invested. Financial experts emphasize that achieving freedom requires living below your means and reducing luxuries, choosing less expensive alternatives or indulging less frequently. This means deliberately choosing to look less successful than you could appear, because you're prioritizing actual wealth over perceived wealth. The sacrifice of appearances extends beyond cars and homes to everyday choices. It means shopping at discount stores instead of boutiques, cooking at home instead of dining at trendy restaurants, wearing basic clothing instead of brands, and taking modest vacations instead of luxury trips. Each choice signals to others that you're not winning at life. Socially, this manifests as declining invitations to expensive events, suggesting cheaper alternatives when friends make plans, and being that person who always seems to be watching money. Friends might label you cheap, boring, or overly focused on finances. Some relationships will naturally fade because they were built on shared consumption rather than genuine connection. The sacrifice of immediate belonging means accepting that you won't fit into consumer culture social circles. When conversations revolve around purchases, brands, restaurants, and experiences that cost money, you'll have less to contribute. You're opting out of bonding through consumption, which is how many modern relationships form and maintain themselves. This is particularly painful because it happens when you're young and social belonging feels essential. Your 20s and 30s, prime wealth-building years, are also when peer groups solidify and social comparison is most intense. Choosing financial discipline over social acceptance during this period requires immense emotional fortitude. The fourth sacrifice, luxury for security, means choosing boring, practical, functional over exciting, impressive, and enjoyable. You drive a reliable used car that gets you from A to B instead of something that makes you feel good. You live in a safe, affordable place instead of a trendy neighborhood. You invest in index funds instead of talking about crypto gains at parties. The fifth sacrifice, Freedom now for freedom forever is the meta-sacrifice that encompasses all others. You're giving up the freedom to spend impulsively, live lavishly, and enjoy fully today, so you can have complete freedom permanently tomorrow. It's trading 15 years of constrained choices for 50+ years of unlimited choices. The reward for these emotional sacrifices is profound. One day you'll realize you don't need anyone's approval anymore because you're financially independent. The people who judged your modest lifestyle are still working jobs they hate, stressed about money, while you have options they'll never understand. The temporary social cost transforms into permanent emotional freedom, and that trade is worth everything.